a sniff?
It's like bleach. Do you think it tastes like bleach?
No, it's not. It's
So I put the bait in front of the camera on the second day and had my rig at the back. I'm casting out, right? Stokes is going, could do with being 3 inches to the left.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the cameraman going, he's fucking serious.
Big fish. I'm going to have to go.
Joe!
I've got a PB, Jason!
And he went, oh, they're not going to like you. Laid it on the mat, and I'll never forget this moment. We unzipped the mat and opened it up. He put his head. Jason's caught some monsters and some very special carp.
Yeah.
And he literally went,
Thinking Tackle Podcast.
Why have you got a naked man on your cup?
have you struck me up with that, have you? Who is that?
Oh, as if
Looks
you
like
don't
Petal.
know. I think
Petal?
it might be Petal.
Is it
Who
Petal?
is it?
It's not Petal. It looks a bit like a cross between Petal and Dave Levy.
It does actually look like Dave Levy. Same body, Dave, if you're watching. That does look like you, actually.
It does. Look
It
like
does, doesn't it?
This is quite good, because we actually haven't seen each other, have we?
No.
I haven't seen you since...
I've really missed you the last
I've
3
missed
weeks.
you as well, mate.
You not so much.
Well,
Yeah.
we did see each other. I did spend a bit of time in the tent. That was enough.
We haven't seen you since you've caught since you fluked your one.
Yeah.
And
Knew
we
that was
haven't caught
coming.
you since you mastered your one out.
No.
either.
No.
So
Nice.
It is.
I've seen them both.
Have you?
Well, when you had to go home for the underwater,
Oh,
I had the pleasure of
yeah.
these two
Oh,
watching
yeah.
me fish.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't bothered about Reedy's opinion, but Damo
disappointing, to
looking
be
over your
honest.
shoulder.
Watching him finish.
Shall we start?
Yes, just start.
Okay, right. Welcome, everybody, to the Thinking Tackle Uncut podcast. As you can see, the gang are all back together, and we were just saying there, we haven't been all seen each other or all been in the same room for quite some time.
You can tell Reed is excited because
Yeah.
he's caught a 56.
He's up on his haunches. isn't
He was here
Well-
2 hours early and it's only 8
I
o'clock.
was actually just going to say this is a bit of a big fish episode because 2 of us here have caught an English 50-pounder since we were last all together.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Obviously,
Hang
a couple.
on,
No,
hang
hold
on,
on.
hang-
I was just going to say there is a couple of real obvious things here that people probably know without me even saying. Obviously, one of them is Damo,
Yeah.
and obviously
And
one of them
obviously
isn't
one isn't
Spoon.
me.
And obviously it was both the people that didn't need to film for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Should
obviously.
we note that as well?
That old chestnut.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit. My story is definitely not as exciting as Damo's. It's more comedic than anything. But it's an incredible carp. Damo's obviously we've been talking about for some time. He's been
Yeah.
chasing this big mirror. We all knew he was going to catch it.
Yeah.
We all knew he was going to catch it quick, and he has. So I reckon.
And by the way, well done. Is a little
Yeah,
bit
well
too.
done,
Well
yes.
done, mate.
Thank you.
Well done, lads.
Before we go into that, I want to just check with Spooner. Are you feeling the pressure from this? Like, because what anybody comments, has Spooner got caught 50 yet? Right? And I was thinking, well, it's almost like this is workplace bullying. Isn't it?
He's gonna get-
But now
Go
it
to
seems like the
tribunal.
carp community's got on board, and
Yeah.
at any opportunity they make a comment about it.
No, I'm not feeling the pressure.
Good.
Really doesn't bother me. But what I can't not get involved because I am a bit of a workplace bully. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's going to be handing out grief to people
Good.
on the reg. So
Because I
next.
wanted to suggest something.
Go on.
I was thinking that we create the Spooner Cup.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So the Spooner Cup is going to be a Thinking Tackle Uncut podcast mug
Yeah.
with the Spooner Cup on the back, and
Right.
basically the listeners send, if they catch a 50-pounder,
Yeah.
then we'll check the date stamps on the thing after this show. We'll choose the best one if there is multiple ones, and then we'll give it out. But we'll only give it out until Spooner catches a 50.
Okay.
So it could be ultra rare. He could catch one next week, and only one listener gets one, or it could be 10,000.
It could
All
be
right,
cost-
so we're going to have some
cost
made
the
up.
company
Have
a
a few
fortune.
made up. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a great
so
idea.
you'd like to think it's not going to cost us a fortune. If we're giving out cups every single week because people have had UK 50s, that'd be pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
And you would definitely start feeling the pressure then. If we were like 30 cups
Everyone
deep.
drink.
It makes me laugh that you've gone, do you feel bullied? And Uncle said, we're going to
Yeah.
bully you more.
Yeah.
As we get to the stage where we go, it's Spooner, Steve from Scarborough, and Tony from Southampton are the only 3 people not to have a UK
Hang on.
50.
No, Tony from Scotland.
No, it's amazing. But to have, I must admit, to have 2 of us to have one in the since we've last all together is pretty remarkable. So
Yeah, it really is.
just shows how many incredible carp are out there at the moment. To be
There's loads
caught.
out there, aren't there?
Yeah, yeah, amazing. But go on, Damo, tell us a little bit. Obviously, we know we've got the backstory a little bit. We've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
talking about this, but you haven't wanted to give too much away because you were still fishing the water. So
Yeah.
bring
I
everyone
mean,
up to date a little bit with what's been
Okay.
going on there.
So this was about 3 weeks ago, wasn't it? The big, as I spoke about it on the previous podcast, one of the guys caught the big one. It was 55.12, I think it was. And then I left it a couple of weeks, but that fish has got form for getting caught quickly afterwards. So about 2 weeks later, it was like a spur of the moment session, really. I went down there, and the lake has been really, really busy. It is a syndicate, but it's almost like a club water, and it's been rammed, and there's been lots of fish getting caught. So I've turned up down there, and there's nobody there. So I was like,
love it when it happens.
What is going on? This is a bit weird.
Surprise spoon on there. It comes out pretty quick after. Down to 12 rods.
You do need to have a ticket.
Oh, right, okay.
So I've walked around the lake, and I've spoken to you two previously about an area where I thought the swim that I actually caught it from has got good form for doing that fish. But I've not been in too many swims where I've actually sat there and thought, when I found an area or been fishing a spot, that I thought I was going to catch it from. And I said to you previously,
Did you?
I feel really confident of catching it from this particular area, which is off the back of a gravel bar near an island, and I think it's part of its patrol route where it comes in and out of this bay called Kitts Bay, because I think it spends a lot of its time in there. So I started fishing there. I caught a broken linear. I caught another one, and so I've walked into this swim. There's nobody there. The swim to the left of it, a carp jumped out twice, sort of 20 yards out. So I thought, well, there's nobody here. I'm gonna go in this one, and then with the view of moving into the one on the
Try
right.
and get a quick bite sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later on. So I've gone to get my gear. I've left my water bottle in the left-hand swim. Come back. Didn't even see anybody come down. There's a bloke in the swim in the swim that I actually caught it from. So I was like, oh, all right, mate. Started talking to him. And I think his name's Dave, and he sells ice cream. But he was only there for the day.
Ice cream Dave, yeah.
Ice cream Dave.
Great guy.
Great guy. So I had a conversation. I cracked on, just fished singles out in the other swim. But Dave was only staying till late afternoon or the evening. But he went about 4 o'clock. And in the morning, the wind had been blowing into the bay, and it looked really good. But then the wind had done a U-turn. It was blowing out the bay. And I just thought, I need to stick to the plan. Get back in that swim. So I moved my rods over, get all set up, cast out my hook baits, loads of birds out there we talked about before, and then baited up into darkness. And it looked really good. And there was a couple of other anglers turned up. Ricky from Fish On turned up. We spent a couple of hours chewing the fat, a cup of tea and that. And then as it was getting dark, I baited up, and it was a really quiet night. Then I think it was 3 o'clock. Or 1 o'clock, I can't remember. 1 o'clock. My right hand rod's gone. Had a bite. Landed 28 pound common. Recast it. Baited up again using the old spotlight. And woke up. I couldn't really sleep. And I woke up about 3 o'clock. And then couldn't get back to sleep. So at 6 o'clock, you've got the old proper misty mornings. The birds are out. I can just see them through the thing. So I thought I'd better get up and try and scare him off, because there's a good chance of a bite. So I've set my chair up next to me rods. It's all close to the bed chair. Got my stove out, put the kettle on, and I'm just looking at it thinking, it looks really good. And then the right hand rod just pulled up, and I've struck it like a matchman. I'm so close to it, and then it's pretty hard. Everything's sort of locked up, because I didn't want any particular. Well, in particular, that fish is meant to ruck. I didn't want it to go over the bar or cause me any trouble, so I've just got out of my chair, walked backwards, walk into the back of the swim, just pulling it, and it was pulling so hard, it was ridiculous. It was taking line off a really tight clutch, and I was thinking, this has got to be the big one. It's a polar difference to anything else that I've caught.
What's the second biggest fish in there?
It's one you had the other week, isn't it?
Well, that was the broken linear.
Yeah.
But that's well down in weight. So the second biggest one is probably the Dinton Common, and I think there's another mirror about 38 pounds.
Oh, right, so there's like
big
20 pound difference.
It's worth noting you think you've lost it before as well, don't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did, actually.
Yeah.
The fight, and it was very similar.
Yeah.
So it's pulling really hard, and I'm trying to lock it down. But I know I've walked back far enough that if the fish kites to the left, it's going to miss the
it's your side of the bar on the snags.
Yeah, it's well clear. But he wants to get to the snags. So he's really, really pulling. So I put the rod down, and you know when you give him massive side strain, if you get the tip under the water, it's almost like the fish is going forward, and then they tip over, and you can just feel it.
Yeah.
And I just got him back. So at this point, my other rod starts bleeping. I'm thinking, I could do without another bite now, but it was actually, as it turns out, there was a big long piece of dead silkweed attached to the line that was just tickling it. You know, my main lines are going out there with a fish on, and the other one's still there, but it's beeping. It's a bit weird, and I don't want to be getting caught up on that playing this. So about halfway in, you're getting massive vortexes, which are deep down. You know, big oily flat spots, and I think this has got to be it. I'm going to be really disappointed if it's not. And it's come round the side, gone out in front, gone to the right, trying to get around the side, got it back, and it's come up on the top. And you know when you've got a big fish and it's coming in sideways, and they're sort of shimmering as they're coming in. Do you know what I mean? And you see the tail and the mouth, and it's spitting out water. It's coming across, and I'm thinking, there's the tail, there's the head. That has got to be it. It's turned round, come round in front of me, and the water's tapped clear. And it's called black spot for a reason. It's got a big old black spot on its side, and I could see it on his back as it swam past. So it was mega.
That's when you just want it in the net, and it's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, you want it in the net. So I've got the net down, and it's got caught. There's a pile of bricks in the water that I'd never even noticed. The net's caught on it. I was like, stand up, trying to get it off that. Turns into a bit of a toast.
Am I right in saying it's barbless hooks as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got all that
going on. So freed the net. A few minutes later, it's in the net. You know?
Yeah, nice.
And put him in the waist sling. Went and got Ricky, and we sorted it out, and it was 57.4.
Oh, we got some nice pics and a video of it actually. Let's have a look at the pictures
Big
first.
carp.
Look at that.
That's a big carp.
The length of it.
How big, sorry, Damo?
57.4.
57.4.
I never noticed before, but his tail looks tiny compared to the rest of it.
It's a big old tail, though.
Short,
When you
really
see it,
fat wrist as well, isn't it?
It's a monster male. There's a picture of me got it in the water, and you can see how long it is. But that is a stunning carp.
It's a PB as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah, English PB.
Amazing.
Tough to beat that.
Very tough to beat. I've said this today, I actually saw that on the bank when Jay Willis had it. It's one of those ones that looks like it could go 70 pound because it's just a massive carp, isn't it?
Huge, yeah.
And
really big.
It never seems really full and big. It's just really long, isn't it?
John, have you got that picture of it in the water?
The water shot is a joke.
I don't think I've seen the water shot.
Oh, it's a
it's
mega,
insane.
like a top-down bird's eye view.
How did you catch it? What did you catch it on?
I was fishing. I rarely fish pop-ups.
There you go, look at that.
Bloody hell.
Shows the length of it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's massive. Massive carp.
Yeah, that's serious.
But I was fishing just a small, like 15mm pop-up on a spinner, crank.
Yeah.
Best hook ever made.
Best hook ever made,
Yeah.
other than Wygate. Just over probably a half a kilo of boilies.
Boilies.
Yeah, boilies. Yeah, I put chopped boilies out to start with, and I thought I'm fishing for a big enough. Just put out boilies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was that.
Nice, mate.
What's
Very
the fish?
nice.
I think we've
Good
got a little
angling.
video, haven't we?
Got on a
Let's have little
helicopter.
video.
Yeah, just on my normal helicopter. My best kit, which the fish on the underwater just laughed at.
Yeah, I had the same. It's really knocked my confidence.
And that's coming off the back of having a 57 pounder.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Different scenarios, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Big carp. Matt Filler.
Wow.
That is a Matt filler.
Yeah, mega.
It's only
Is it
iPhone
one of them
footage.
weird ones to hold because it's like back heavy? It's
No,
like
it
heavy
was-
at the top.
It was ultra well behaved.
He looks like he fights hard.
Yeah,
he does.
he's got angry eyes.
How do you feel, Damo, after you catch a target fish like that? Because obviously you've targeted that carp to catch it. What's the feeling like when you've actually had it?
Next.
Yeah, so I mean, some people say, don't they, it's quite anticlimactic. Like you have that initial and then it's gone, because obviously it's all about the chase before it happens, and you're like constantly striving to catch it.
Yeah, but it took him 11 nights, so it's not going to feel
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
not
No, but he
confident.
By the way, does everyone know that I'll be... me and Kev, I think we mentioned it before, didn't we?
Yeah.
Me and Kev had a bet for 50 quid how long it was going to take Damo, and he said 8 nights, and I said 11.
Okay.
Then when we were underwater, obviously Damo's caught, we're sitting around chatting, and we're like, we've got that bet. So I speak to Damo's like worked it out and said it's 8 nights. So I was like, well done, mate. Sent him over the 50 quid.
Yeah.
And then he's obviously come back, worked it out properly, and it turns out it was 11.
Oh, no.
So now Kev's got to give me my 50 quid back and his 50 quid.
Oh, no. Stitch up. Unlucky, Kev.
Going back to your question, I think when you're of the mindset of you're just chasing one fish, it's relief because you want it bad. You know what I mean? You're putting everything into it to try and catch that fish, and you know it's a massive buzz, and you know it's a bit weird, but every time I go, when I go, you know, I'm in my sleeping bag before I go to bed, I'm looking at it thinking maybe tonight's the one. You know,
Well, you look at it on your phone.
yeah.
That is sad.
It is,
that's great, though.
It's the thing that you want.
Yeah,
you
of
know?
course it is. Yeah,
So yeah, no, it's great. I mean,
that's a mega buzz.
I'm not like oh yeah, on to the next one.
Yeah,
But
On to the next one.
yeah, he's on to the next one.
yeah.
Because that's what I get out of my fishing. Is
Yeah.
like catching those big ones.
Would you have stayed on there? Do you think until you caught that? Was it a proper one you wanted to catch?
Yeah. It's pride as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've just got to catch it.
Yeah.
Amazing, mate.
So,
Yeah.
What a
Awesome.
carp.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I just wanted to say thanks to Chris Belcher and Ricky for doing the pictures, and for Chris for being the best bailiff I've ever come across on a
Brilliant.
fishing lake. Yeah,
You need a couple of
Belcher's
boys
a
around,
legend.
don't you, for a carp like
Yeah,
that as
no,
well?
yeah, it's awesome.
Mega.
Unreal. Right, underwater.
Yeah.
It's like, please let me talk.
Come on, Reedy.
Well, I will just say mine is obviously,
Yours is slightly different, but still amazing.
it is, yeah. I mean, unlike Damo, I don't like to drag it out.
No.
Really. So I like to get things done a little bit quick.
That's
11
right,
nights doesn't interest me. I've got too much going on. I'm too
Yeah.
busy at
Yeah,
work.
sure.
No, I'm joking. No, I was lucky enough to get a ticket on this water this year. It was sort of out of the blue. I wasn't going to do it, and then the opportunity come up to get a ticket, and that's Lee's Bush Farm. Got two lakes down there.
Yep.
Front lake and a back lake, and I'd seen and heard lots about the back lake, and it was that really interested me. But the front lake obviously had this enormous.
They've got
common
loads.
in.
They've got loads. Both of them have got lots of big fish in now, though, haven't they?
Well, they have a big fish, not like huge numbers, but big uns. Yes,
Yeah.
a good stamp of big uns in.
What, you're going?
Oh yeah, we'll get onto that, Damo. Don't worry, we'll get onto that. So I've gone down for my first session a couple of weeks back. Gone straight on the back lake, mega lake. It's like a maze. It's a bit like if anyone's fished Ashmead. That's the only way I could sort of describe it, and that's sort of how he redug it to shape it like that.
Yeah.
It's like a load of little channels. Then it opens up. Then there's a little island, and everyone's got their own individual piece of water. It's a lovely little place, and like I said, we've talked about this before about small waters. They can often be really nice and they're full of big ones, but it can be quite tricky. And I've fancied it as being one of those ones where it might take a few trips, might take rest of the season to get a few, but once you get on a few, you can suss something out and get it going. So done my first trip on the back lake, was lucky enough to have two. Done a sort of 30 odd hours, I think I did in the end. And a really nice 30 pounder and a nice low 20 in the middle of the night. Went back for my second session, and I was actually having to
I thought it was your first trip that you caught it.
first trip on that lake.
Yeah.
So
Oh, right,
I'd
so-
gone on the back
okay.
lake, the first trip.
Okay,
So I'd
okay,
gone,
sorry.
yeah. So I'd gone on the back lake, and that was going to be me. I wasn't interested in the front lake. I thought front lake I'm going to go on in the autumn. Thought I might have a go for that big common in the autumn. It'd be nice. Lee said it gets quite quiet. And I thought that's going to be perfect. Couple of acres, like you might get something going for yourself in one of the swims. So I thought I'd move on to that in the autumn, concentrate on the back lake, try and catch some of these beautiful harrows that are in there. And got down there thinking I was going to do another night on the back lake. Had to meet Lewis to do a few carp porter bits, filming bits first. He said we could do it down there. So I've taken my bucket straight round and gone in back where I'd gone in before, because I put a little bit of bait in before I'd left, which was only sort of 4 days ago. And just as I was coming back from putting my bucket, Lee, the owner, come in, and there was nobody. There was one guy, on the front lake, and sort of pulled me to one side. Mate, you've got to have a go on the front lake. And I said, well, I'm going to concentrate on the back lake at the moment. I really like some of the fish in there. I'm going to come on here. And he went, mate, someone will catch that big carp before spawning 1 year, because it only comes out once a year, and it normally comes out in July or August post spawning. He said, I'm adamant someone will catch it. He said, it's been quiet, there's been fish showing. And I said, no, I'm going to concentrate on the back lake. But you know what it's like, once someone put something in your head, I start thinking about it. Lewis come down, we got all our bits done. All the time we're filming all these bits, I'm just thinking, should I go on the front lake? Should I go on the back lake? What if he was right? And you start getting a little bit of thought, don't you? And he said basically a guy had gone in a swim opposite the night before for a few hours in the evening, and they'd showed on dark in the other swim,
Right.
where he had sort of said where they'd been showing. And the guy said, I got it wrong. Like, I only had a few hours, but I got it wrong. I could have caught last night. I reckon they were in that swim. So anyway, I've wrapped up with Lewis, and I've gone, I'm going to have a go on the front lake, which I wouldn't normally do, actually. But I just, something made me think, have a go on there. So I went and got my bucket, come back around, jumped in there, had a little lead about like you do, knew nothing about it. Lee had given me a couple of pointers, so sort of concentrated on those areas first. But lovely, lovely ground there. Real nice sort of clay pit it is. Anyway, found a couple of really nice spots. It's only a 2-rod limit. Dropped a couple of rods in. And then, lo and behold, on dusk, I see a couple of... Because it's only small. When you're seeing big fish like that, like you'll know, obviously all of you from fishing little places, when you're seeing them show on you like that at dark. We say,
knew he'd be looking at me.
Yeah, you won't know. I was going to say that.
I could just feel the eyes.
Yeah. And I had a couple of really big fish show not too far away. So it just everything was sort of aligning with what he'd said the night before. Anyway, 1:30 in the morning, rod's absolutely melted off the right hander, which is off the side of this island, and what can only be described as an absolute battle royale. Like, just kept flat rodding me out and coming back in again. And just before I went to bed, it's worth noting there's a load of this horrible siltweed, sort of that real bright greeny horrible stuff, probably about 10 foot out from the bank. And I used the oar off the boat to make like a channel. I'd made it quite wide. But I just put my head torch on the red and it had all closed back up again like it does, doesn't it? It never stays
It's probably
apart.
what we had underwater, that same stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I should have probably found out, really, but it's horrible stuff.
Yeah, it gets
I knew
everywhere.
it was going to be tricky to land this carp.
What did you put out, by the way?
Literally boilie, straight boilie.
Yeah.
Balanced bottom bait.
Yeah.
Just literally it was a straight bottom bait with just a tiny little yellow out on the top, just to
Right.
take a little bit of,
And
give
then
it a
rig?
little bit of buoyancy. Spinner. But just
People don't even say it
no,
anymore.
spinner style, but just 2 hook beads. Worth noting that. I like to use them like that. I know we're still, by the way, anyone listening thinking we promised we're going to do this rig thing, it is happening.
Yeah.
We're just sort of still in the process of setting it up. So when we do, we can talk about that. But yeah, 2 hook beads, just a really nice sort of balanced bottom bait, really.
Right.
Nice simple presentation, big fish tactic, I'd say.
Yeah.
Straight boilie. Anyway, I'm playing this fish, and eventually it sort of looks like I've got half a chance. I can hear it gulping air out in front of me. Obviously knew it was a big one. I've gone to net it, and this siltweed just won't come any further than this siltweed. So I'm wearing our insulated trousers because it's all it'd been really hot in the day, and all I had on was shorts. So I put these on in the evening when the temperature dropped. I thought, I'm going to have to get in here. So I literally had to jump in with them on, and they filled up like a... You can imagine what they're like. They're like a sleeping bag.
Like MC Hammer.
Yeah, so it was like I'd got into cement and it had gone off. So I'm like wading forward, and eventually I've obviously got it in the net after a bit of Lauren Hardy moment. And I've pulled it towards me. I put the head... I didn't want to... There's another guy over to my right. Like I said, it's quite a small lake. I didn't want to draw loads of attention to myself. So I put it on sort of subtle, and I looked in there and I thought, that is absolutely massive. And I knew there was another comment in there that it basically was 46, and this one had done... I think the biggest recorded weight was they weighed it during a netting, and it was 55 something.
Right.
And I looked at it and I thought... And not showing off, I've had a few 40-pound commons, and I thought, that ain't a 40-pound common. Like, you just know.
Yeah,
I was like,
big.
that is absolutely massive.
But it looked much bigger in the dark.
It looked much bigger in the dark. So anyway, I've wedged it up. I've got the mat out and everything. He's got big old cradles and that down there. Got everything set up just in my swim. Rolled the net up, put it on the thing, opened up the net and went, oh my Christ. Like, I sort of knew, but you don't, do you?
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, at the same time. So I put it into the retainer, just dropped it in the edge, and behind me on the back lake, where I'm on like a bit of a spit, and there's a bay on the back lake, Jason Hayward's actually got a ticket on there. And I'd never met Jason. Obviously, he's been on the podcast now with Rich, but I'd never met him, so I didn't know him. And it was 1:30 in the morning, probably 2 o'clock at this point. I thought, do you go round and... I need help, really. It's a big fish. I'm going to have to go round.
Joe!
I've got a PB, Jason!
Well, sort of, yeah. So I've gone along to him.
You can't do that to Jason.
It's all that was there. Well,
so embarrassing.
I also didn't know the rules. Do you know what I mean?
He
Like-
texted me and
Did
he
he?
said, who is this weirdo?
That's a lie. So anyway, I sort of knew I'd better get someone to help me with it. More for Lee. Do you know what I mean? Lee had known I'd self-take to one of his biggest fish in the lake.
Oh, you mean to take pictures?
Yeah, to sort everything out.
I thought you meant to like weigh it and that.
No. Well, I thought I'd do
Because he
everything
ain't
with
strong
him.
enough.
So I've gone to give it... Jason on the old bivvy. He was up, actually. Yep.
Big
I went,
carp.
mate, you wouldn't be able to give me a hand, would you? It's Adam. I'm just sort of behind you on the front. He went, yeah. And he instantly went, you ain't got the big one, have you? And I went, maybe. And he went, oh, they're not going to like you. Because obviously he knew that it was my first night on there. So anyway, he got him up. He said, they look big in the dark, don't they? Did all the same thing. And I went, mate, I know. I know there's another big comment in here. Who knows? It might be sort of carrying a little bit or something. Could be 47, 48. Might be the next one down or something. I don't know. But I sort of knew. Anyway, got the thing. And we're still talking like this, me and him, as we're getting out of the water. He's going, they look bigger in the dark than they always do. And it laid it on the mat. And I'll never forget this moment. We unzipped the mat and opened it up. And he put his head... Jason's caught some monsters and some very special carp.
Yeah.
And he literally went, wow. He went, that's the biggest carp I've ever seen with my eyes ever. And I thought, that's a big carp. He's saying that.
Yeah.
And he went, you ain't got no worries about whether that's the big one, mate. He goes, that's the big one. And I went, I thought it was. Oh, shit. So anyways, he goes, let's get it weighed and drop it back in. He goes, and then we'll get everything sorted. So we chucked it on the scales. It's bouncing just over 57 pounds. I went, Jason, I think it's 57 pounds. I went, you do it, mate. I'd rather you read the weight. So we swapped round and lifted the pole back up and took a while to get it mega steady and settled on 56 pound 12 ounces,
Right.
which is just absolutely colossal.
Enormous.
Anyway, Jason, he's proper like big carp scene. It was so good. He, you know, like you're in a little bit of a daze, aren't you, when you catch something special like that? He went, "Who's on? I'm getting everyone up." And I was like, "Oh yeah?" And he went, "Yeah." He went, "Who's?" He goes, "I'm going to get him up." Started it. And he literally he went running off. I could see his head torch going around the thing, and I could hear him going, "He's got the big one! He's got the big one!" And this bloke, where's he? He jumped up. Then the two head torches come bobbing back round again. And this guy come into the swim. He went, "You jammy bastard!" He goes, "It's your first night, isn't it?" I went, Yeah, it's my first night.
It's funny that Jason's gone and got everyone up.
Oh, you could tell he's just all about the scene.
What a hype man.
Yeah, mate, he was so good. You know, like when you need someone like that when you catch a special fish like that, because they semi-take over and you can just enjoy everything, can't you? And we did, and we chucked it. I think we've obviously got some great photos. We did them at night.
Look at that.
It's a piss
There
take,
it
that
is.
is.
Yeah,
That's a mega carp. Its head. And
oh my
is
god,
just
it's unreal.
awesome.
It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's perfect.
Is it a male?
They think it is.
All
yeah,
the big ones seem like
yeah,
they're
they think
males
it
at the minute,
is.
all
They
the
think it is a
50s.
male.
Look at
Like I
that,
said, it never
really.
comes out. Very lucky, obviously, to catch it like I have, but it never normally comes out pre-spawning, which is why it's come out obviously such a big weight. It's normally 50. Well, it drops down a bit after spawning, obviously, but they know it's around this weight
Yeah.
prime time. So
That is a beautiful carp.
Incredible,
it's,
mate.
it's
Yeah,
got-
mate,
and both
massive, well
sides
done.
equally, like one of those ones that both sides of it. I know John thinks got another picture, or Kev has, and we've got a little bit of video of it as
Just got
well.
another 20 photos. To show.
Yeah, just keep
Don't
them
worry, mate.
going.
I would and all.
Yeah,
PowerPoint presentation.
yeah, here we
His
go.
little pointer out.
Yeah, what a carp. Absolutely mint.
Pristine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice, mate. Very
Yeah,
well done.
Very
Yeah,
well.
well
Yeah, so
done.
first night, first bite. I mean, that's the way to do it. And if you,
That is
you
the
know what
way
I
to
mean?
do it.
If you didn't have the back lake now and you just paid for your ticket, you'd be thinking, that's quite expensive carp.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
wouldn't
think I've
care.
ever done that on the first night, have you?
Nah, I just,
First trip, no, at Coleman's I did.
Yeah, you did. I caught the biggest fish in the lake when I was 14 on my first trip doing night fishing. That's the only time that's happened.
Right.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of video.
Really?
Oh, yeah, we've got a little bit of video. It's only an iPhone sort of.
That's beautiful, mate.
Yeah,
Jason.
get it,
Well,
Jake,
How
yeah.
big, mate? How big?
£6, 12 ounces.
English
Common carp.
English common, mate.
English common. Look at that.
That is,
Jason's
that
buzzing
is
for you.
Yeah,
isn't
he's buzzing, isn't he?
immense.
That's great.
And how
that
many
is.
nights, mate?
Oh, I've grafted for this. 7 hours into this camera.
Oh, mate, you must be done, mate. Yeah, absolutely fabulous. You just want to quickly turn her around, mate.
That is class.
Yeah.
Wicked.
It was a brilliant little moment. But it's funny because when we got, like, Damo just said then, we come in and chucked it on the computer and Benny Allen done a little bit of magic on the photos, getting rid of a bit of glare, and Damo came in and went, "That's not it, is it?" I went, "Yeah," and he goes, "Is it?" I went, "Yeah." He's straight on his phone like that, messaging Lee. He goes, "I've got to catch that, you know that." I went, "Yeah, I thought you might want to catch that." So I think you're definitely going to have a go for that at some
Yeah,
point, Damo, aren't you?
100%. Yeah. Well,
That's another
Lee had
one.
actually messaged me and said, "When you quite a while ago,
Yeah.
when you want to catch a big common, give us a shout." And I'd never even give it a second thought.
No.
Because I wasn't really sure what he was going on about.
No.
And then you walked in with that, and it's just like, bloody hell, that's
He's got something pretty special going on down there.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like the water, the quality of the water and the aeration and the money that goes into it, like all year round, to make sure then carp
Yeah.
are
He does things
absolutely-
properly, Lee. Like everything he
Oh,
does,
mate.
does well.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not. He's
And
not
he
an idiot.
loves it as well. Like he
Yeah.
hardly fishes himself, as you know. He's a busy guy and he's always got loads going on. But he loves the fishery and everything about it. And he, even like to the point of the bait he wants to try and put in after spawning with something in it to make the carp go back to, like, there's obviously lots of things people from fisheries do, but he's thinking of the next thing that can make them even better to make sure they're absolutely prime and quality.
Yeah.
Fishery management again, isn't it?
It's not far from here, is it?
No,
No,
25
that's-
minutes.
Yeah.
Is it like Ockenden way? No.
It's near Aveley, I think.
Aveley. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upminster?
I
Is that
don't know,
right?
somewhere.
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 15
Yeah.
minutes from my
Local.
house.
It's
Yeah.
local,
Very,
isn't it?
very local.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those. Like,
It's
obviously,
handy.
I've had that
That's what it is.
mega
Handy.
buzz
Yeah.
of catching that carp, but now I've got everything I sort of still wanted to do is still in front of me to
Yeah,
do.
that's nice
It's
when
like,
you get one
yeah,
early.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's like
Yeah,
the
wicked.
opposite of me.
Yeah. But we're saying about what we're saying in the office, like £56. That's a big common carp.
It is, yeah.
Like there ain't hundreds of them about, is there? I know
No,
we talk
no,
about there's a lot of
no.
50s, but there's not loads of them about.
No, not that big.
No. So
How big's that brook lake
Looking
fish
at
now?
immaculate.
Low 50s.
Low 50s, 52.
Yeah,
52,
it's been
53.
54, but I think it's
Nice,
52
nice, that
pound.
one.
That
know
fish, that don't matter how big that one is.
Nope.
No.
You know,
Joseph
No,
the
God,
Carp.
no.
that's
But
just,
is there a bit? I'm only bringing this up because me and Lee were talking about it. Is there a bigger common in Essex?
Oh God.
Um,
Here we go.
Well, no, this is
Alright,
more
mate,
for
you're
Lee.
Essex record holder.
Yeah, well,
Put that as the title.
No, I don't think there is.
great idea, John. Yeah, he's on the pen. Well done. Yeah,
Am I Essex record
yeah.
holder?
Reedy is Reedy, not Essex.
I don't know.
No, I don't know. Anyway.
I've got some. Well, I've got an idea. I've got an idea from a different podcast. Does anyone watch Joe Rogan podcast?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen on it that they sniff the smelling salts?
Yes.
Right. I got some, and I think we in Spoonerful as a well done
Yeah.
for catching the 50s.
You'd both do it.
Bear in
you two
mind-
can try the smelling salt.
As well, we did this yesterday, genuinely in the office.
I've done it loads yesterday.
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
No.
But you two got to play rock, paper, scissors for who gets to go first or second.
I'll let Damo go. I'm not.
No.
I'm not
No,
out
no,
of
no.
order.
Have you
I'll
ever
let him go first.
Do you not know what these are like?
No.
Mate, they're insane.
You've got to take a sniff though.
All right.
Look,
All right.
who had the biggest? Damo.
Damo, so you go first, he goes
Yeah.
last.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the winner.
Okay,
Damn it.
don't hold the lid off too long.
Okay.
Proper
Ready?
sniff.
No, I'll do it.
No.
No,
He's not going to squeeze.
No, I don't trust him at
He's
all.
not going to squeeze the
not gonna
bottle.
sque- on
Why
my
don't you
kid-
let me hold it then?
On my kid's life, I will not squeeze the bottle. 3, 2, 1, sniff.
Oh my god.
So
What actually is it?
That's ammonia, which I'm allergic to, which is Andy.
Ammonia.
Oh my god, that is gross.
Damo, over to you, mate.
I ain't doing it now.
You are.
You go.
You've had a
go.
57
Yeah,
pounder.
Proper sniff.
It's like bleach. Do you think it tastes like bleach?
No, it's not. It's
Oh,
That is horrific.
It's so bad.
I reckon you probably like it. I know he'd do it because he's always on those nose things, isn't he? To him, it's heaven.
Oh my
Well, Spoonie, you might as well do it now. We've all done it.
Genuinely, I'm allergic to ammonia.
But you've still done it yesterday.
I did it yesterday. I didn't feel great.
I feel really out of order not involving Kevin John. Really out of order. No, I'm getting head shakes
why
here.
does it just do one side of your head?
No.
Can we put
God,
the lid
that's
back on?
horrendous. Wait, that's
Do you
for
wanna have a
weightlifting,
No,
isn't it?
I find
they
it
do
really
it to
funny
open
that.
everything up.
Yeah.
I think that's good to you.
Literally.
Oh,
That.
I can smell it. It's no
Actually
good for me,
feels quite nice now it's settled down.
No, do
Feels
you know
quite
what?
clear.
You want to do it again in 10 minutes. And it's
Yeah.
one of them things where you're like, oh, that's bad. But
Got a
I'll have
feeling he
another go.
won't.
A little bit. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Might do, might not.
Anyway, well
No,
done.
well
Yeah,
done.
well done again, lads.
Yeah, I never thought I was going to get that for catching that. Right result. Right result. Thinking I might come in a bit of cake or something and get that down you. Yeah,
Oh,
lovely.
dear.
Well, before we get on to, because I know we're going to talk about what you lads have been up to in the underwater, we've got some bits from that to show. We're going to pick your brains a little bit about the rigs you were using, the
Yeah.
rigs you were getting done on. But I think, Spooner, you've had a couple of doubles, haven't you?
Yeah, let's bring them up.
No, I'm joking. Spooner's had some lovely carp. I remember them getting sent round the group because you went on a little family
Easter
trip.
weekend. Yeah, my missus was away with my eldest, so the
I can't see it gone bland in one eye.
me and Freddie and Emily, along with Spencer and his boy Tommy, we went to Barham Lakes in Ipswich, where they've got a lodge there, just a couple of nights fishing.
Nice.
Freddie dressed for the occasion. I don't know what top that is. Is that Real Madrid? AC Milan?
No, it's AC Milan.
AC Milan, yeah.
Was he a bit of an all-rounder, is he? Whatever team he fancied
Do
at
you
the
know
time?
what?
Or?
They all get one for Christmas. You buy a thing called surprise shirts.
Okay.
Where you just send off, you spend, I don't know, 25 quid, you just get something completely random. We've
Right.
got so many different football shirts in the house that you never know what they're
Brilliant.
going to wear next.
Pretty
Unfortunately,
carpy, that.
they're all United fans, which is terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we just had a couple of nights fishing over Easter. I caught one of the originals, which was quite fortunate because I don't know how many there are in there, but I had a really nice 33-pound common after listening to you boys' stories. I mean, it's
Almost
half the
that's
size.
lovely.
That's
But
a lovely
nice
carp.
carp, mate. We had a great time. Spencer's boy had a couple of mid-20s. Spencer caught a couple.
How
Nice.
big is that tree stump behind you?
gonna
It's
say that.
enormous.
Do you take that every time you go? That is absolutely
I'll tell you,
massive.
one funny story that I didn't... You know, when you look back on it, you think, oh, I can't believe I didn't take a picture. It was about 2 in the morning. I'd just put back my first fish, and Spencer had caught a couple in the afternoon. And as he was about 2 in the morning, I'm just getting comfy again, and I hear, Spoons? I went, oh, he wants pictures done now. I went, yeah, mate. He went, can you help me?
Is it Spence?
Spence.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's he done now? I'm like, yeah, of course can, mate. What's up? And he's walked in. He's got a size 4 spinner through the top of your finger and out. Like,
Oh.
and he went, I've tried to cut the barb off, but I ain't got the strength. Like, it was through. So I've had to get me crimp tool, like cut it off to feed it back through. It was properly, and he said he was unhooking a fish, as we've all done. The hook's just touched his finger. The fish has flipped in the net and just dragged it all in.
I've nearly done that a few times.
Yeah. Mate, it was. But then for the rest of the weekend, his finger was just in. He was in absolute.
Yeah, it's horrible that. Isn't it?
Well spent.
If I just should have took a picture or a little video.
Yeah, you
just
should have.
didn't click. So sorry about that. But yeah, nice little bit of fishing with the family.
Yeah, lovely.
And Spence. Yeah, it's good fun.
And then obviously on to underwater.
Yeah.
Obviously did a podcast with Daryl and Dan, which for everyone that's
That went
watched
really well.
that, and commented on it, thanks very much. Everyone loves seeing Dan. And obviously I've said to Dan about coming on with all of us.
100%.
And obviously he wants to do that. Like yesterday, I think he's keen to come on and get going. You know what Dan's like? Trying to keep Dan down to an hour the other day was near enough impossible.
Yeah.
He's ready to go. The minute he starts, he could give you 5 good hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it was horrible to cut it short, really. But I said, we'll have you back on.
That's good, though. It's like you're getting back on and do another half hour.
Without a doubt. But the reason we did that was obviously because you boys were on underwater in the tent.
Yeah.
After that, I was lucky enough to go up with Damo just for the day and sit in with spoons while he tried to catch one, which
I
was
said to Tom, I
really
really,
good.
really enjoyed it.
It was great.
Good, yeah.
I really did.
And obviously Damo got to go back and have a go. But before we talk about Damo, set the scene a bit,
Yeah, so
Tom.
we've obviously, it feels like that's just been our life for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I went 3 Mondays ago, I think. What day is it now? It's Wednesday, the middle of May, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Might be 4 Mondays ago.
Was it 4 Mondays ago? Anyway, we were there pretty much for 3 weeks. It was at the Manor Fishery, sort of towards Southampton. I know we've mentioned this before, but I'll sort of set the scene again. When we first went there, we thought there was between 130 and 150 carp in, maybe not even 4 acres, 5 acres, 10 foot deep, gin clear, weedy. Ideal scenario for underwater. And the biggest fish in there is a 64-pound fully scaled mirror. Like insane.
The one that Pecky caught.
The one that Pecky caught, and actually we had Pecky in here talking about a few months ago. So we were looking forward to it all winter. Got there on, like I said, 4 Mondays ago, so like the middle of April-ish. And Pecky had said to us that the big one gets caught in the middle. And obviously you listen to Pecky because he's right all of the time. So when we first got there, we found spots out in the middle that Pecky had told us about. We actually found another one that he hadn't told us about, but one of the ones he had said was just absolute primo. It was just off centre of middle in about 9 foot of water, sort of pea shingle gravel. And then another one that we sort of cleared some weed out the way and actually made a spot in the centre of the lake because that's where the fish were. But the problem was there wasn't actually any other spots. There's lots of weed in there, isn't there?
Lots of weed.
And I think because they hadn't really fed much because it was the middle of April and they hadn't really kicked off yet, they hadn't created any spots. So where we thought they were living was in the centre. We put the cameras out there, and the long story short, we stayed out in that middle for the best part of a week and nothing really fed on the spots and we didn't really see any fish. So over the course of the next sort of 2 weeks, we'd moved the cameras probably 6 or 7 times. Saw the big one on a test camera, which was the most exciting thing ever. Can you imagine how big?
Well, we all imagined that, didn't we? Before you went away, we said, if you don't catch it, if you get to see it, it's going to be incredible. So obviously, mission accomplished.
Yeah. And we learnt a lot, but also I think there's lots of unanswered questions with this one. It's not like we went there, cracked it, and we've got the answer for you. It's more like we went there, caught a few, fished different types of bottoms and different baits and everything else, and succeeded, but didn't like completely crack it. But I think over the time that we were there, we realised that actually there's probably only 60 fish in there. Which for fishing there itself is probably makes it a better lake because you've got more chance of catching the big one and it makes all of the other fish a bit more special. So just for fishing normally, that's great, but for underwater filming, you need lots of fish to get the traffic in front of the camera. It's a very, very, very difficult thing to do, that underwater filming, and it sort of made us feel for Dan and the pain he's gone through in the past to get it done, because like I think Dan might have said it in the podcast when he was with you, it's a very different thing turning up for 2 or 3 days, but when you're there for like Damo did, you go there and you enjoy it. It's still stressful, but it's not the same as like trying to make all the decisions for the spots and the pressure of actually making it happen while you're there.
Well, one thing I will just say on that is obviously I only went for the day, and previously my only underwater experience was jumping on for a few few days with Pecky at
Yeah.
the end of a shoot last time,
Yeah.
which was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
But going there and seeing it mid-shoot with the multiple spots and the cameras everywhere and the different tent setup, it was a bit of an eye-opener for me about the effort that goes into it. I was quite tired watching the guys moving the kit around.
I know we always say it, but that is like... That is a team game, really. Like either the first spot that we actually caught fish from, Kev found on the drone and was like, so we saw fish traffic there. We decided to put one of the test cameras there. Kev got them feeding on the spot, and then we ended up moving the main cameras on the spot, probably at the right time, and ended up catching some fish off of it. But all of the lads work ridiculously hard, up at 5 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night every single day. That's not for the faint-hearted.
No.
No.
Do you know what? I only did 3 days fishing, but I arrived on Thursday night at about midnight, 11:30. Immediately got to make a decision. Dan's on the phone to a different Dan who runs the cameras. He's on the phone to me regarding bait. What do you want to do? And I'm like, just put boilie out. But actually, I'll do it when I get there because I want to do it myself. Got down there, so it's 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're up at 5. So I only did that for 3 nights, and I came back and I was like hallucinating. I was so tired. I was actually, not last night, the night before, I felt like I was in the Matrix. Mate, it was so tiring because your mind is on overdrive.
Yeah.
You know, for me, you know, there's a lot of pressure to perform. I said, like, I'm casting out, right? Stokes is going, could do with being 3 inches to the left.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the cameraman going, he's fucking serious. You know, and it's like, hey, I'm not lobbing it. It's a cast out in the pond. I'm like, all right, wind it in.
Yeah.
Do it again.
And do it again. But it's...
Yeah, there's lots that goes into it.
Yeah, you just don't get an... you know, you only see what we're showing you on the on the front of it. There's hundreds of hours of footage of nothing happening, or us getting turned over. And for the angler, the pressure is you really want to catch one.
Yeah.
Because you look like you're failing.
Mm.
You know?
And also you just want to work it out.
Yeah.
Like you do. Like we caught a decent number of fish between us, and it'll be a great show. But because you get through certain periods, you get a lot of traffic. You just always feel like you should be catching more. Like really. And the more I think about it, the more I think it was a slightly different scenario there because it's such a small, clear, pressured lake. I was always in the camp that they can't really see your tackle, or they might do, but as long as you get them feeding enough, they'll throw caution to the wind and you'll get them. But there, it was like they're seeing the kit.
Yeah, they knew they were being fished for.
Definitely. Like as soon as you put the rig in, they won't go anywhere near the line. They were spooking off of it. They will eat. Like Spooner had the worst scenario I've ever seen. They ate everything a couple of times, and he just had like match the hatch bottom baits, and the same as everything else out there. They wouldn't even bat an eyelid to eat all the way around it and just leave his rig there.
Didn't spook off it. At no point were they sort of coming in and darting off. They were just like, I want that one. I'll have that one. And before you knew it, I was effectively fishing a single.
Yeah.
But
what were you feeding though?
Cell and essential cell.
And nothing else.
At night, we were feeding a little bit of crushed, bit of crushed peanut.
Through the fishing situation.
So, I did. We didn't confer on what we were doing, did we? At all. So, I fed just big boil, like 18 mil cell, and I wanted the movement. I wanted to come in, pick a bait up, and go off, and that is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So they would come in. It was almost like they were taking them to squirrel them away somewhere, like a squirrel, and drop them off. I had, between the 2 spots, I had the short spot that you guys were fishing, I was fishing the longer spot as well. We had the same fish going from one spot to another, that scaly mirror.
Or the one...
The one with like, some white sort of marks all around its scale.
That is 20 pound scale.
20 pound scale, that's it, yeah. And on the first day, the water was so clear and the sun was so bright, it was like there was no water there. They could, and I had the same thing. They cleared me out on both spots. They never pick the rig up once, and I came to the same conclusion. They could see it. You could even see their caution as they're coming in. Their behaviour would change. So at the end of the first day, I was like, "Fucking hell, this is really difficult. I need to change it." And I had my best kit out there.
Yeah.
I thought this is you got to start with your best, and if they're not even going to pick it up, how are you going to get any further?
Yeah.
And I thought, for me, if they can see it, we've got to go lighter.
Yeah,
And I've got to move the hook bait further away from the lead. So I ended up using the rig that Scott Sweetman uses all the time, his IQ-D rig, and that was a massive change, a massive change. But I changed the bait. So initially I had the rig in front of the camera and bait all around it. Excuse me. But the change was they were spending more time at the back of the spot, further away.
We did the same, didn't we, a couple of times.
So I put the bait in front of the camera on the second day and had my rig at the back. And from that moment on, all they were interested in was the hook bait.
What's interesting with that though, Damo, is obviously you're saying about that rig, which at a later episode when we talk about terminal tackle, we'll show that rig. But we've obviously had quite a few debates about that, and you was actually dead against that rig being any good whatsoever, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, I was. Yeah,
yeah.
To be fair. But I think that when I actually look at the mechanics of it, and the difference is with a D rig, like you've got a very short D on the back of the hook with a little little micro ring swivel on it. The distance is very short. With Scott's rig, you've got a massive D, right? So that increases the distance between the hook and the bait, which gives it more room for the hook, makes the hook heavier, so the hook's always down. And being a longer rig, sort of over 12 inches, that was always sort of primed with the hook down, and I think that makes a difference. The problem I had was the buoyancy. I had a linear that kept coming in and kept going up to that bait. It was like it knew that was the hook bait and it wanted it. The behaviour was really odd. You know, 1 minute me and Stokes are sitting there and it just comes in, crashes into the bottom like it's just fell out of the sky, takes a couple of boilies and goes off. And then it comes back and it's like looking at it, it's coming back, and you know it knows it wants it, but it knows it's
something not quite right.
Well, did you have it balanced then, did you?
Yeah, so I had it, Scott had said to me, you've got to use it with a heavy balanced bait. But my first cast was too heavy and it just wasn't sitting right. So you've obviously...
When you say heavy balanced bait, what do you mean?
I had a wafter with a weight on the bottom of so it was really heavy sat on the bottom.
Well, so it's heavier than a normal bait?
Yeah, right. Because I didn't want it to move around too much.
Okay.
Right. So we had a bit of.
But sorry, it's heavier than a normal bottom bait. It's heavier than if you just got to sell out the back
I reckon.
And put it on.
I reckon. Yeah. Because I used one of we've got some of these new wafter weights coming out, which you can convert a pop up into a wafter.
Yeah.
Right. So I put the smallest one of those on, and I had a couple of. I can't remember exactly. There's so much going on, but where something happened where I thought that fish coming down and it's clocked, there's something not right with it. So I wound it in. So there's pressure not to wind in because you've got fish coming in, traffic coming in. You don't want to scare them. But I'm like, I've got to change it. So I changed it again. I ended up initially the first cast I had a tungsten anti-tangle sleeve on to push the hook link away. I took that off and put one of our new sinkers on. So it was about 4 or 5 inches up from the lead, one of these sinkers, no anti-tangle sleeve. So the cast went out, the hook pushed away, and it laid beautifully on the bottom. This was just with a lead clip set up, no tubing or anything, just one of those naked chod
tail rubbers. Yeah.
And a couple of bits of putty up the line.
Just how are you attaching the rig then, with a loop and a little bit of silicone pushed over the quick change, or are you tying it on?
Straight to a swivel.
Tying it straight to the swivel.
Right, okay.
To a hybrid lead clip.
Yeah.
So it's naturally falling away, and you end up with a little bit of a curve in the line, which is exactly what Scott had said. He wants to give them enough to hang themselves. So when they suck it in, you're not using a short rig where it goes up. It can go in, and he gets quite deep hook holds. So it lands right behind this little bit of weed, like sort of filament weed, and you can just see the bait behind it, but I couldn't see the hook, and I couldn't see anything else. So this linear comes in again, it goes up to it, and he can see it somewhere. Anyway, he sort of comes around, like he's going to take it, and then he sort of moves his fins, and the bait moves. I didn't see it get picked up. So then it's out in the open, and I can see, because basically in my haste to get the rod back out and balancing it up in the bucket, I thought the bait was on the bottom, but it wasn't. It was actually sitting. It was sitting on the swivel, so it was off the bottom by the length of the swivel. And I tie my baits on, so you've got the full length of the swivel. So it sat there in the open. I'm like, shit, that's not right. I need to change that. And then I'm going to recast that, and and everybody goes quiet and thinking, you're nuts. But it ain't right. Got to change it. So I wound it in, managed to cast it, get it to sit on the bottom, cast it back out, and it landed first cast, perfect. But the linear had been spooked, and he'd left the swim, so I was like gutted. But a couple of hours later, he came back, and he just went straight for the hook bait.
Yeah.
He came in too fast, turned around, went back out, went up to it, and we'll show the footage.
Well, just to pause it there a second, Kev, if you can, because before we do that, because you looked like you were going to jump in, Tom, on him when he was saying about his heavier than a bait straight out of the bag. Was you thinking why?
We've had exactly the same experience, me and Spooner have, and we went through the same things. Yeah. We went from pop-ups to bottom baits to on the floor bottom baits, so they're not wafting at all, and none of it seemed to really make that much difference, right? To us, it obviously did with this bite, but the biggest thing, the biggest thing that I take away from it all is that. When you bait a spot for a long period of time, the fish are confident to come back in all the time. It's like even when you're recasting, because they'd eaten bait off of that spot for 3 days, it was fine. But it was the same for me when I caught two. We baited for 2 days, and I caught two the next day, and it's like that confidence of them feeding is by far the most important thing out of everything else. And my other thing with the heavier bottom bait thing is that. We can tell on the underwater film that when you've got a bottom bait that you've got okay presentation. Yeah. But with really heavy bottom baits and longer hook links, in a normal fishing situation, you don't get presentation. Yeah. Or as good presentation. So then some of the time you're not fishing at all, and you have to decide whether fishing with something less effective but definitely getting presentation is actually in the long run better than something that gets picked up more if it's presented right. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I totally agree. And I think that's why a lot of us revert to type and go for those spinners, little yellow pop up, because you're going to be fishing 99% of the time. But all I would say to that is if I can use a straight or as good as a straight bottom bait, if I could use that every single time and be presented, that is what I would be putting out. And I think a lot of people would. But like Damo was saying there about the messing about with the buoyancy, I really don't like to add buoyancy to it, but what I will always try and do is put like I said to you, how I caught that big common, and we'll show that at some point, is that I always, whether it's matching or a different colour, I will just slice enough of a pop-up off and put it on top and take a little bit off the bottom bait, so it all marries back up again to a similar so you can't really even tell.
But it's just negating a bit.
It's just negating a bit of the weight, and when it just goes boom straight on the bottom again. But I know if a fish sucks that from anywhere, it's going to shoot up a lot quicker than what a straight bottom bait do.
I think that's rubbish.
I don't think it makes any difference.
Mate, they're eating stones. That one, we'll show the footage. One of them sucked in a stone that big, just couldn't swallow it and just chucked it back out. Like, they are so powerful.
I think the buoyancy thing is just like, you don't realise how much they're picking up. One come in and picked up 3 boilies in one go. Right. Yeah. And it's the same thing where they were picking up stones and things. They're just sucking it in, mate.
Yeah, I agree.
The thing with the heavy bait was that on the other rod, when it got light enough, the hook link was curled back on itself. Right. So even though it was just a little lob and onto that thing, it was totally useless.
What are you saying, because it easily moved?
Because it was too heavy. Because it landed before the. It wasn't coming down. It's landing before the lead.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you're not getting the presentation.
So getting this presentation right has got to be the bait falls slower or at a rate where it can push the hook link out and it's fishing.
But it's still sitting on the bottom.
It's still sitting on the bottom, and it was sitting over the hook because of the long D, and the bait ends up down by the eye, so it's sitting over it, so it's masking the hook. When I had on the first day, when I had a size 4 crank on, the bait was sitting on the deck and the hook was sitting on the side, and any carp coming past that could see that, and I'm sure they could. The difference was, on the second day, I don't think they could see the rig. I couldn't even see the knot. I could see the hook and the fluorocarbon sort of knotless knot. You couldn't see the curls in it,
Right.
and it was zoomed right in. And I was thinking, if they can see that, we're never catching anything.
No.
But that was the difference between the days. I don't think they could see the rig very well at all. The second day.
Is that because of visibility or because of the tweaks that you'd made to your rig?
Because of the IQ 2 15 pound was thin enough that they just couldn't quite see it.
Right.
And I was using a size 6 wide gate rather than a crank. The 4 crank's quite a big old hook, isn't it? And you've got a lot of associated parts with that, with the spinner rig, with the swivel and all the rest of it. It was just a lot simpler and a lot... I think if I'd have put that rig out on the first day, I'd have caught loads because they were mowing down that cell.
Yeah.
They had 15 kilos of bait over the day.
God knows how much they had when we
mate,
were
underwater is hindsight all the time.
It's
all the time.
It's so good though, mate. It like really does get you thinking. I've gone away from it thinking I need to rethink what I do.
Yeah, just on that,
because you're missing. You're definitely missing out, but also like we fish so much and for so long that you do recognise a pattern in success with what you use, and them spinner rigs and pop-ups do just work so well.
Yeah.
But
there's no getting away from it.
But you also have to understand we're only fishing from 5 till 9. If we'd been fishing there as a normal fishing session, you look out on that spot and there's carp coming to it all the time, and there's no signs whatsoever. You can't see anything. If we'd fished through the night, I'm pretty sure we'd have caught a few fish.
Every night.
We would have thought there's nothing wrong. We had 3 carp. It's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
But not that they've seen everything during the day.
No.
And there is something about the underwater when you're fishing in front of a camera. It's just not the same. Do you not think?
No, yeah, cool. I mean, having a massive
I think
camera
one of the biggest
for a
things
start.
is how often you're getting visited when you're sat there thinking maybe you're not in the right swim, we haven't got fish on you. I mean, even sitting with you, Spooner, for that day that we did, Damo, how many chances stroke fish in the swim? It's just so many.
Yeah, they're eating far more bait than you think they are. Don't get arrogant with your rig, because as soon as you get arrogant with your rig, you're not putting enough bait out. Like, assume you're getting done constantly. And that's why the lads that fish match style catch so many fish, because they're like, they're assuming the fish have been in and they're putting more bait out.
Yeah.
You've got to do that on lakes where there's a lot of carp anyway. And this is a heightened scenario, like I said. It is the footage we've got is insanely good.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's so clear, and the gravel's so white, and it's so shallow. It's like you're not going to get a harder situation.
Should we just finish this?
No, just on there, just quickly, then, before we move away from that rig, because obviously I know it was a new rig for you using.
Yeah.
Was that, with that big D, where was the bait? Was the bait sitting down near where you'd want it to sit every time it was out on the close camera? Because my biggest thing now is what I said about those 2 hook beads. I can't cast out anything on the bottom, straight bottom. If I'm using a spinner setup, straight bottom bait or a wafter, I will not use not use 2 hook beads now. So my bait is in the perfect position where I want it to be sat, because I think it was a trip in France I did where it was gin clear. I think it was when I went to Liège. And every time I was fishing a spinner with 1 hook bead, and every time I know I was lowering it from a boat, so it's a slightly different scenario, but I was trying to imitate the cast, the techers of driving the boat back. And I'd go back over, and quite a lot of the time the swivel had rode up to the shrink tube.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it looks terrible.
But I think the problem with that is everything's so short to the hook, right? Then the movement, when you're picking it up, the thing on that D rig, it's on a big curve, right? So, and the separation between the bait and the hook on that little size 6 looks perfect. So once that's gone in the mouth, that's quite a mouthful. There's quite a distance between the bait and the hook. And I've got to go on Scott's performance and what he catches, and he is catching loads on it.
He's a Terminator.
So do you think it doesn't matter?
Not for that rig.
No, you don't think it matters? You don't think it matters if it rides up?
Not on that, but I think it does on a crank when you're fishing it on the deck, just with the swivel, which is on the shank of the hook, not on the D. It's just completely the mechanics are different.
And it doesn't ride down to the bottom of the D because of the natural shape of the D. Like it'll naturally go to that top part, won't it? And whereas with a hook, it's just dead straight, so it can fall.
I bet it's such a good rig, isn't it? I mean, it was Fairbrass's go-to rig forever, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think we even called the DF rig to most people, isn't it? That rig, because I know we used it forever.
That was the curve
with the curve
IQD,
with it. Yeah.
IQD.
Are you using it with wide gate though?
Yeah. Well, let's
have a look at this. We've got one of Damo's bites here.
Can you point out the hook bait?
See, this looks to me like it was really balanced, that pop up, but it's
got 2 bits of lead on the back of it.
This is one of the bites. Yeah. So fish is coming in.
Misses it
No,
here.
Goes over the.
He goes too far. Comes back to the camera.
Mega carp, those. Mega.
Stokes it.
Carp.
Mega.
Yeah.
So it looks like it bounces up
it
off
does.
the bottom, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. And then he just...
Oh, go on.
Look at that.
Footage is so
I mean,
good.
it's gonna look okay on this podcast, but the footage on the actual
yeah.
That's
camera
insane.
is
I can't wait for
unreal.
it to come out. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, so that's been us for 3 weeks. Been doing that. There's so much has gone on. We couldn't possibly talk about it. But that'll be stripped and edited this year, and then probably be out at the beginning part of next, or maybe at the end of this year. But
well, let's just have a quick fly around on what everyone's up to then for the next couple of weeks before we end it.
Yeah.
Tom, you're going fishing in
I've
about
got
10 minutes?
I've got my fishing kit on. I'm going to Raisbury. What date is it? 13th. People always like times 14th. Yeah, okay.
14th.
So it's sunny.
Yeah.
They haven't spawned over there yet, and they have in other places. So I'm lucky with that. I think last year they didn't spawn until the end of June. So I've actually, like, for the next few weeks, I'm going to be fishing Wednesday to Friday over there to just get some of my own fishing in. So this is my first trip back after a few weeks. Can't wait.
I bet.
I'll be thinking about my rigs more than I normally do.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, I can't wait.
There you go. We'll get us some footage if you have some so we can show it next time.
Yeah, I will.
Damo?
Yeah.
I haven't got any fishing plan because all the lakes I'm got tickets for, they're either closed or they're fish are spawning.
Okay.
So I'm planning on going down to Brook Lake to fish for the snub nose.
Nice.
Bullnose, whatever it's called. But it's shut for the next 4 weeks, I think. So once that starts, I'll take a trip down there.
That'd be you right through the autumn if it don't happen quick.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Normally this would be middle of spring, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
feels like it's not because they're all spawning. So use some bait now.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about forever that, don't use too much bait, but the fish are warm and they can digest it and they're hungry, especially if they spawned. Like, this is the time to use a lot of bait, really.
Get it in. Spoons?
I've got loads, actually. I've got
Shock.
I've got a couple of socials, but I've got a couple of charity things that I'm catching up on. So I've got a couple of nights at Frimley, pit free, £50 to go at.
Yeah, nice.
I've got a couple of nights at Northwick, £50 to go at. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
It's going to be a hell of a party when you do have it.
Could be it.
Could be the last
It's going to be so boring when he has one, isn't
cups
it?
given out.
It's so annoying when he has
He'll
one.
only have had one.
Yeah, exactly. I
Hang on,
suppose we have got that, yeah.
Might have two. Imagine having one from Frimley, then popping to Northwick and catching layer.
Imagine if this totally goes back on us all in a few weeks and Spooner's going, "Have you only had 4? Have you only had 3? He's just had loads of it, a proper carve up.
Yeah, what about
Brilliant.
you?
What am I going to be doing? So it's Operation Thames for me at the moment. I've mentioned before that we're going to be making a video on the river.
Yeah.
And I've just started doing a little bit of recceing, and I'm going to be doing a bit more this week, and I'm actually going to start introducing some bait this weekend.
That's
So
exciting.
we're 15th, did you say?
14th today.
14th. So this weekend I shall start getting a bit going in. I wanted to be doing it a little bit earlier actually, but I've just got a new mooring and stuff, and it's taken a while to get things started. So she'll start trickling a bit of bait in now. Quite a bit of effort going into that, and then hopefully we'll start making a little film around June the 16th and hopefully catch a few river carp.
Nice.
Lovely.
Wicked, that.
Yeah, I had a
That
great
will be.
day out the other day. We did a sort of long 2.5 hours up a few stretches and back down again, and I think I fish the Thames quite a bit anyway, but normally in the winter and normally the same areas every winter for predators. It is amazing, the Thames. It's just so beautiful. Like when you get up to those upper stretches, it's just gorgeous. So
Was this around Marlow and places like that?
all up through there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that Reading area, like all up through Oxfordshire,
Yeah.
it's just so beautiful. Like it's just meadows of untouched land and stuff, and kites everywhere, and you could be somewhere else. So I think we're going to be able to create a really nice film and hopefully catch a few nice carp.
I'm sure
But
you will, mate.
It's going to be a proper buzz because I know nothing really.
It's that unknown, isn't it? It's not lovely.
Well, every fish I net will be what's that?
Yeah.
Every single fish. I'm not going to have a load to go at or anything. So exciting stuff. So that'd be
Sick.
me. But hopefully we'll talk a bit more about that, a bit more about what everyone's up to on the next one, and don't forget to keep your questions coming in, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Well done, boys. Good catching up.
Boys.